Hey guys, so today I'm going to be showing you how to make this Loomigurumi Succulent design, which is designed by me. I'm not sure exactly which specific cactus it is. I feel like I know what I was aiming for when I made this, but like, I don't know. I just thought it would be cute to have like a little cactusy plant that wasn't like a cactus, so that's why I've been calling it like a succulent, because there's just so many different kinds of succulents. But yeah, this is the design. I think it's pretty cute. I don't know why I had this idea. I got out of school a week ago and I would just sat down and I was like, I kind of want to make a succulent. We're going off on a tangent here already, but I actually had I had a succulent of my own and I killed it on accident, so at least these I can't kill. Anyways, difficulty-wise, this design might be a little more difficult because the way we make this is we are gonna make the entire pot first, and then we'll do the dirt, and then we put this on top. So this is a lot of attaching. We pretty much attach it in 3 separate layers. So we have the bottom layer, then we attach this middle layer, and then we do the final layer. So it is a bit of attaching for the top, so that's the only reason I think it might be difficult. Other than that, the pot is pretty straightforward, so it shouldn't be too bad. Band-wise, I haven't done the band count yet because I just forgot. So if you want to know how many bands this takes, you can always check down in the description. There will be a band count down there, as well as the pattern and everything else. So if you want the pattern, you want the band count, just check down in the description below and it should be there. But yeah, I hope you decide to make these. I think they're pretty cute and I like them, and I'm really excited I get to make another one because I get to make one for the tutorial. But yeah, I'm trying to think if I've covered everything. It has been a minute since I made a tutorial, so I'm like, oh, did I do it all? I feel like I always say this in my tutorials lately because I've just been taking massive breaks from this channel because of school. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So to make this, you're gonna of course need some bands. Today I'm gonna be doing another like striped pot, so you can see that this pot's like purple and pink. I'm gonna be doing that again, but with different colors obviously. So I'm gonna be using blue and then neon yellow for the pot. For the dirt, this dirt here, it's like fancy dirt. I used Persian bands, but today I'm gonna be using these like brown and white bands. I can't find my brown bands, so I had these, so they work. Haven't decided what colors I'm doing for the plant yet, but I'll tell you when I get there. And yeah, of course you're gonna need a hook. Today I'm gonna be using my double-ended hook that I always use. You don't need a double-ended hook. You can use just a regular Rainbowloom hook, a crochet hook, whatever hook you have. You're also gonna want a C-clip to mark your rows with. And of course you're also gonna need a little bit of stuffing if you want to stuff this guy. I'm gonna be using cotton balls. So I think that is pretty much it. And yeah, we'll get started. Okay, so we're gonna get started. So we're gonna start down here at the bottom, like I mentioned already a little bit. We start with the pot, so yeah. I'm gonna be starting with neon yellow because I kind of don't want to use all my sparkly bands because these are like sparkly sweetie bands. So I'm gonna do kind of similar I did to this guy, where I'm gonna do the whole bottom in one color, and then I'm gonna switch to my other color. I am gonna be doing a striped pot again, but if you want a solid color pot, you're just gonna ignore all the color switching I'm doing. But I'm gonna be starting with my neon yellow, so for the bottom of the pot. And of course I started filming before I picked up bands. You know, I'm just gonna talk while I pick up bands, which is actually sort of related to what I'm gonna talk about. I've been noticing I've been getting a lot of comments that are like, why doesn't she just edit out when she picks up bands? And I don't know. I like the vibes. I've mentioned this a long time ago, but Feeling Spiffy was like one of my biggest inspirations, and she always left in when she was doing stuff, and I feel like that's why I've kind of made the decision that when I'm like picking up bands and just like getting ready, I don't really edit it out. But yeah, it's a decision. But it's just interesting because recently I've been getting a lot of comments like, why doesn't she edit all this out? Why isn't it like fast and efficient? And I don't know, I kind of think of it like maybe you guys are picking up bands while I pick up bands too. So yeah. Anyways, we're gonna get started. Like I mentioned, patterns in the description. But we're gonna start with a tripled cap band with 6 stitches in it. So we're gonna start by wrapping a band 3 times around our hook. So we have 1, 2, and then 3. My camera focused. Camera. Okay, there we go. And like I said, we're gonna put 6 stitches in this cap band. So we're gonna pull the band through everything, so all 3 loops, Both ends back on our hook. We're gonna push the back one over the front one, and that'll be our first stitch. We're gonna go back into the whole cap band, so make sure you go through all 3 loops. Pull a band through just the cap band, so not this last loop here. Both ends back on your hook. Push the back one over the front one, and then push the loop from last time over as well. And now we have 2 stitches in our cap band. So we're gonna repeat that thing we just did 4 more times, so we have 6 stitches in the cap band in total. So once again, we're just gonna go back into the cap band, pull a band through just the cap band, so not this last loop here. Put both ends back on our hook, push the back one over the front one, and then push this loop over. And we just repeat that 3 more times. Also, where my camera went a little bit blurry. There we go. So we'll just do that 3 more times. Why? Sorry, I feel like it looks blurry. You guys are probably watching and you're like, Ginger, it looks fine. Look. It's just to me it looked blurry. So that's 5 stitches. We'll do one more. So once you're pretty sure you have 6 stitches in the cap band, you're just going to want to count to make sure. So we'll start by counting this loop on our hook. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So once we've made sure we have 6 stitches in the cap band, instead of going back into the cap band, we're going to go in through this first loop here. And I know this looks like a loop sometimes, but we're not going to go through that. We're going to go through this part. And we're going to pull a band through just the loop. So just the same as the cap band, pull it through just the loop. Both ends back on our hook. Push the back one over the front one, and then push the loop from last time over as well. And then this is where we're going to put our C-clip. So that's the start of the first row, or first bit, I guess. Now we're going to increase everything, and what that means is we're basically just going to be doing 2 stitches per loop, because that's what increases are. But we're gonna, every single stitch we do this row is going to be an increase. And I am once again picking up bands. I don't know why. Yeah, just thoughts. Okay. Anyways. So this first loop here already has 1 stitch in it, but because we're increasing everything, this needs to be an increase. So we're gonna go back in, and we're just gonna make another stitch, so. Like that. So now that loop has 2 stitches in it. And that's basically what we're going to do all the way around, but I'm going to show you again on the next loop because it's going to probably make more sense. So we're going to go into the next loop. We're going to go ahead and do 1 stitch. We're going to go back in, do another stitch, and then that's our increase. So all an increase is you're just putting 2 stitches per loop. So you go in and you do 1, and then you go back in and do another one, 2. And we just do this all the way around until we reach the C-clip. And at the end of this row, we should have 12 loops. So we're just increasing all the way around. So we're just doing 2 stitches per loop. And then once we get to the C-clip, we're going to make a stitch on the band that has a C-clip on it. And we're going to move it up. So now if we count around, we should be at 12 loops. So we'll start by counting the one on our hook. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And I feel like right now is a good time to remind you guys that I do occasionally go a little fast in the tutorials. I know this, but you can always pause and like rewind if you need to. That's kind of the luxury of this being a video. So just a reminder that if I'm going a little fast, you can always pause, complete your row, and then come back for the next step. And if you're ever confused on something, I always recommend just like watching what I'm doing first and then doing it yourself. So yeah, just some reminders. Anyways, we're gonna get started on the next row. So for the next row, we're gonna be increasing every other, and what I mean by that is we're just gonna alternate between doing a single stitch and then an increase, and we're gonna do that all the way around until we get to the C-clip. And I'll show you what I mean by that. So this first stitch here has one single stitch in it, and we want this first one to be a single stitch, so we're gonna go ahead and on our next one we're gonna do our increase. So this one will be our single stitch, and then this next one will be our increase. So once again, because it's an increase, we'll go ahead and put 2 stitches in this loop. Like that. And since we're alternating between single stitches and increases, since we just did an increase, the next one will just be a single stitch, so we're just gonna do 1 stitch in this loop. And then since this one was a single stitch, the next one will be an increase. And we're just going to keep doing this all the way around until we get to the C-clip. So we just did an increase, next one's a single stitch. And then next one will be an increase. And the next one's a single stitch. And we do an increase. And we just keep doing this. And we'll just do this until we get to our C-clip. You know, I just realized that you guys can see my nails, and I did like repaint my nails recently. They were supposed to be like oranges, and I just feel like I should mention, because this does not look like an orange. I tried, guys. I'm not the best nail artist, but I do it for fun. And to me, this looks like, I don't know if any of you guys play Pokemon, but there's always like so many weird berries in Pokemon. And to me, this nail just looks like some kind of berry you'd find in Pokemon and not an orange. But yeah, it just didn't turn out the best. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with like all my other nails. Like I feel like they give like orangey vibes, or just the vibe I was wanting, except for the one nail on each of my hands that kind of looks like it's a Pokemon berry. But it's fine. It's fine. We're almost there. Okay. So once we get to the C-clip for this one, we are gonna just move it up like we usually do. So we'll just do a single stitch and then move our C-clip up. But because, wait. Yes. But because I want to do like I did on this guy where I'm alternating colors between like, so we have like a little stripey pot. I'm gonna go ahead and switch over to my other color right now. Also, for the next row, we are going to be doing what I call like sort of a half row, or like, it's like a row of single stitches, but we're only grabbing like half of a loop. So we're only going to grab the inner half of the loop. And I'll explain what I mean by that, but yeah, stuff is already happening for this row. So you're going to want to switch, if you're making your pot multicolored, you're going to want to switch to your other color. So for me, that is my Sparkly Sweets blue. Also, I was so excited when I found the treasure box. If you guys are watching this around when it comes out, Rainbowloom's been putting out a bunch of treasure boxes. And they put one out that is full of sweets bands, which are like my favorite kind of band. And if you don't know what a sweets band is, it's basically the bands that are like glittery, but then they have like the inner color and then like a layer of clear with glitter outside of it. These are my absolute favorite bands. And they released a treasure box that's just like full of that type of bands, and I was so excited when I saw it. And I wasn't gonna buy it because I'm kind of broke right now, but my mom actually already bought one for me, and she was gonna surprise it with me when I got home from the craft store. I was like, wow, just the way things work out. But anyways, really pretty bands. So anyways, we stopped one before the C-clip, and because the next row is a half row, we're gonna only grab the inner half of the loop. So you can see, let me make sure my camera's focused. So you can see there's like 2 halves of the loop. We're only going to grab this inner part. And because we're switching colors on this first one here, if you're not switching colors, you can go ahead and ignore this part of the step. But because we're switching colors here, you're going to want to pull your band through everything and then put the back one over the front one. And that's a slip stitch, and we'll only be doing this because we're switching colors. And you can go ahead and take your C-clip off that one and just move it up onto this one. Like that. So after the last row, we should be at 18 loops. I know we didn't count around, but that's because we had this whole awkward bit on the C-clip, but I just wanted to get this moved up before we counted. But we're gonna go ahead and count now. We should be at 18 loops, so once again, always start by counting the one on your hook. So you should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Like that. So we kind of already got into what we're doing for this next row, but it's basically just a row of single stitches. But like I already mentioned, we're only grabbing the inner half of the loop, and I feel like it's so much easier to see on the ones that don't have the C-clip on it. But there's like 2 halves of the loop. We're only going to grab this inner part, and then we just do a single stitch. And we just do this all the way around. So here's the whole loop. We're just going to grab the inner part like that. So we're just doing single stitches, and we're only grabbing the inner part of the loop all the way around, which I feel like I already said. I'm saying it again just in case. Making sure my fingers are out of the way so you guys can see what I'm doing. Need more bands. You know, after I made this design, I'm tempted to use like the same concept of like pot with cute face on it and then like different cactuses on top, so I might experiment with that, or maybe even making a little bit of a different size pot, but I want to make more like cactusy type loom creations that I can't kill. I couldn't believe I killed a cactus. I think I accidentally overwatered it, but I watered it the amount that the lady who sold it to me told me, but it still died. So now we have loom cactuses to fill the void of my dead plant. I was hoping it would grow back too, because sometimes they do that, and it did not grow back. I kind of want to get another succulent though, or like a little cactus to try to grow a cactus again, but we'll see. Anyways, so once you get to the one with the C-clip on it, we're done with our half row, so we can go through the whole loop again once we get to the one with the C-clip. But if you're doing the stripy colored pot, we got to switch colors again, so we're gonna go ahead and switch back to neon yellow. So you're gonna want to get your neon yellow bands. And once again, because this is we're switching colors, we're gonna want to do a slip stitch. So instead of pulling it through just the loop, we're gonna pull it through everything and then put the back one over the front one. And we just move our C-clip up. So after this row, your pot should be looking something like this. And we should still be at 18 loops, so we're going to want to count to make sure. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And now is where it's going to get a little bit repetitive. So we need to do 5 rows of single stitches. So we're just going around this, doing 5 rows. Like I said, single stitches. And at the end of each of these rows, we should still be at 18 loops. This part's fairly easy, so I'm not going to stay and do all 5 rows with you. I'm going to go ahead and do the first 2 rows with you guys, and then after those 2 rows, I'm going to go off camera and do the rest. But we're going to go ahead and get started. So this will be our first row of 5. And, yeah. Yep. Okay. So once again, we're just doing single stitches all the way around, and we're not doing like any weird like half rows or anything, so we're going through the full loop, and we're just doing 1 stitch in each loop until we get to the C-clip. And we're doing 5 rows like this, so we're just doing 5 rows of single stitches. And that's pretty much it. So I don't know why I have been getting a ton of hate comments about when I talk in tutorials, considering I usually try only to talk when we're doing repetitive rows like this. I say hate comments, they weren't that harsh, but I don't know what it is or what's in the air lately, but I've just been getting a ton of comments that are like, Ginger, you talk so much, why aren't you explaining and you're talking? But I'm talking at in most of my tutorials, I talk at times when it's like this, where it's like, oh, we're just doing a bunch of single stitches and I feel like everybody knows what's going on. But yeah, I know I shouldn't let the comments bug me because I'm fairly happy with how I format my tutorials, but it's just when I do stuff like this, I always think like, oh, these people hate that I talk. But there's also the people who like that I talk in tutorials, so I'm gonna continue to talk in tutorials. But yeah, it did make me realize though that I'm such a talker. Like, I think especially in some of the tutorials I did when I was in school, I just wanted to talk, so I did. I've been seeing people say that certain people are yappers, and I'm such a yapper. Like, I can talk a lot if you let me. I will talk nonstop. Someone honestly probably needs to stop me. Anyways, so once again, if you're doing a striped pot and once you get to the C-clip, we are going to still be like alternating colors for all 5 of these rows. So we just finished our 1 row in, well, we're doing 5 rows of single stitches, but we just finished a row in yellow. So now we got to flip back to teal. And we keep doing this for all 5 of the rows. We just switch colors at the end, so we have a striped pot. So we're gonna go ahead and switch back to blue now that we're at the C-clip. But yeah, so we're gonna go into the loop that has a C-clip on it, and once again we're gonna slip stitch, so we'll pull a band through everything and then push the back one over the front one and move our C-clip up. So that was 1 row of single stitches. Like I said, we have to do 5 total, so we gotta do 4 more. I'm gonna stay and do 1 more row with you, and then I'm gonna head off and do the other 3 rows. But yeah, so we're just gonna do the same thing. We're just doing 1 stitch in every loop, and we do it all the way around until we get to the C-clip. And at the end of each of these rows, we should still be at 18 stitches, or 18 loops, but I'm not gonna count until I finish all 5 rows. But if you're ever worried you did like an extra stitch, or you didn't do, or you missed a loop, definitely count how many loops you're at, but I'm gonna wait till the end to count. But yeah, we're just still doing single stitches all the way around, so we're just doing 1 stitch per loop. And now I'm gonna continue talking. But yeah, I feel like most of the time people comment like bad comments about me talking when they are probably frustrated that they can't make the thing. But yeah, I don't know, I really should not let comments like that get to me, because I also always remember this one comment I got on, it's the most popular video on this channel, I'm pretty sure, which is my Loomigurumi duck tutorial. Someone commented in the comments, and I have like Christmas nails in that video, they're like, her nails don't look very good. And I was like, wow, dang. I mean, you're right, I'm no nail artist, but dang. And I just always remember that comment every time I have like painted nails in a video. I'm like, someone's probably judging my nails, which is horrible. But yeah, I definitely thought of it when I saw this like failed orange nail. I was like, oh god, someone's gonna be like, that's not an orange. And I'm like, I know it's not an orange, but yeah. Anyways, whole rant about me talking in videos to say basically I'm not gonna stop talking in videos, so there's that. I have no idea. But yeah, I was really surprised though when I found the whole treasure box full of sweets bands. I think it was like the greatest day ever, because I just love sweets bands. Rainbowloom also has finally been making some colors that I've been waiting so long for. Like, I have been dying for Rainbowloom for years to make like a coral color, and now they made like a sweets band coral color, and there's just like a regular glow coral color. I've been waiting for that color for so long, so I'm like, finally. So yeah. Anyways, we're back at the C-clip, and because we're doing a striped pot, we need to slip stitch to switch colors again. So we're gonna pull a band through everything, back one over the front one, and move our C-clip up. So that was our second row of single stitches. Like I said, we need to do 5 rows total. So I'm gonna head off camera. I'm gonna do 3 more rows, and we'll still keep alternating colors at the end of each row. And if you're confused about that, you can always go back in this video and see how I did it, but we're just gonna continue alternating colors if you're doing a striped pot. And yeah, we just need to do 3 more rows of single stitches. So I'm gonna go off camera, do 3 more rows, and then I'm gonna come back and tell you what to do next. Okay, so after the 5 rows, it should look something like this. As you can see, I continue the stripy pattern. So for the next step, we're going to be doing sort of another half row, but this time we're going to be grabbing the outer half of the loops. And I'm going to go ahead and switch over to my blue color, because my last color I used was the yellow. And we are actually almost done with the pot, so yeah. I don't know why I never pick up bands before I hit record, but I literally hit record and now I'm like, I forgot to pick up bands. So we're picking up bands. Anyways, you, oh, right, okay. So many thoughts. So we should still be at 18 loops, so if you want right now you can go ahead and count around. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Like that. So I did the stitch on the C-clip, but we actually need to undo this and redo this because this stitch needs to only be on the outer part of the loop. I just assumed you guys probably just did a like regular single stitch, so I just did that so that way I could undo it and show you what we're doing for the next row. But you're gonna undo the one on the C-clip, and we're only gonna go through the outer part of the loop. So before we went through this inner part of the loop, now we're gonna grab the outer part. And because this first one is where we're switching colors, we're gonna go ahead and pull it through everything. Put both ends back on our hook and then push the back one over the front one. Then we put our C-clip back on this one. Ah. C-clip doesn't want to go on. Okay. Like that. So, just like before, we're still just doing single stitches, it's just we're only grabbing this part of the loop. So we're just gonna grab, instead of the inner part, we just grab the outer part, and we're just doing single stitches. That. So it's pretty much kind of the opposite of what we did before. Or I guess we're just grabbing the opposite loop. And we're just gonna go all the way around. So actually, we don't really, I don't think we have to switch colors anymore after this. I was noticing on my other pot, I was looking at it, that for the brim, which is what we're working on now, which is like this brim portion, I did 2 rows, because we do 1 more row after this and then we're done. I kept it the same color, and I think I'm going to do the same thing for this guy. But you could alternate back to your other color. I think I'm just going to keep it the same though, for me. For my personal preference. Yeah. Almost there. And make sure you don't miss this loop by the slip stitch. It always kind of hides a little bit. So once you get to the one with the C-clip on it, like I mentioned, if you're still alternating rows and doing a stripy pot like I am, you could switch back to your other color. But like I already mentioned, I'm going to keep it the same blue color, so I'm not going to slip stitch. I'm just going to do a single stitch and move my C-clip up. So the very last thing we have to do for the pot is we're just going to do a row around of single stitches. We should still be at 18 loops. If you want to count that real quick, we can count it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. We are just going to do 1 more row of single stitches. And then we're done with the pot. I feel like the pot's pretty simple. The leaves are okay. They're not too difficult. It's just, it's a lot of time. But we'll be fine. Probably. Anyways. So I'm just going to go ahead and do a row of single stitches all the way around. I'm not going to explain this too much because we've already done it. So we're just going to do a row of single stitches all the way around. So I was thinking, because I knew I had this row to do when I was doing the other rows, I was like, do I have any funny or interesting stories I can tell them while we do this repetitive row? But not really. I've just been in school. I got out of school about a week ago, and then like I got home and I was like, oh my god, I need to get back to my channel. I really miss looming. I got home and I made like 3 things immediately, and now I'm like, oh cool, I have tutorials to film. Actually, a loomer reached out to me, and I'll show you the designs that are going to be coming at the end, but they asked me to make tutorials for 2 things, and I thought they were super cute, so I said yes. And yeah, so it's been fun. I don't know, I'm really hoping to focus on my channel this summer. I don't go back to school until August technically, but I'm taking 1 summer class in July, and yeah, other than that, I should have a lot more free time because I'm not. Honestly, this past semester was by far the busiest and worst semester. I took 5 classes, which is a lot in college. Normally in college you only take 4 classes, and I took 5, and I was working a job. And my schedule was just crazy because art classes for some reason are 3 hours, so I was just on campus all day. But it was a fun semester, it was good. But I am grateful for a break because it was a lot. I'm also trying to get a job over the summer, and I was trying to work at the place I usually work during the fall, but they don't know if they're gonna have space for me, and I'm like, please, please hire me. I need money. But hopefully I'll hear back from them. Anyways, we're at the C-clip, so that's it for this row. I'm at the C-clip, and because this is the very last thing we're doing, we're just gonna go ahead and tie off here. So we're gonna just pull the band through everything on our hook, both ends on our hook, and then push the back one over the front one and pull really tight. And we can go ahead and take our C-clip out. I'm sorry, I thought I heard my family scream or something, and I was like, what the heck is happening? But it might have just been the dog. But yeah, we're just gonna tie off, take our C-clip out, and the way I do the brim is you can literally just bend this part over, and it should just want to bend, and you'll have the brim of your pot. And of course we have like this guy that's kind of sticking out here, so we can go ahead and just tuck this in. We're just gonna weave this into the sides. Just weave it in. And it should be good. Like that. So that's the pot. The next part we need to do is the dirt. We actually do a complete like row of the dirt to close it off. So you're gonna want to get whatever color you want for the dirt. Like I said, I'm using these like dual layer brown bands because I can't find my other brown bands. I really need to like organize all my loom supplies. But yeah. So we're gonna go ahead and get our dirt color, whatever color you want for the dirt. You can't really see it. You could also give your cactus fun dirt if you don't have brown. But I'm gonna go ahead and use these bands. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do like a little stitch around row on the inside. And it's kind of really easy to see for me which row I want to stitch on because I switched colors. So we have this like yellow color where I did the half row. And we're gonna go through, and you can kind of, usually the end actually tucked in really nice here, but usually I start towards where the back is. And on this half row we did, on these loops right here, we're going to stitch in. So we're going to start with this one here. We're going to put our hook through, and we're just going to do a single stitch. And we're just going to stitch on all these bands right here that are like the half row bands. You can tell because this loop on the brim is the only like holding half the loop. And we're just going through, and it's really easy to see honestly because I switched colors a lot. But we're just going to go through these loops here, and we're just going to do a single stitch on all of them, all the way around, and it should put us back at 18 loops. But we're just doing single stitches, so we're just stitching around on this part of these loops. I don't know how else to explain it. I feel like if you're confused, you might want to just watch what I'm doing for a bit, because I don't know how else to explain this. But we're just stitching around on the inside on these loops right here. And you will have to kind of like squish your pot a little bit so you can see, but don't worry about it because it goes back into shape pretty easily. Also, I think these bands are called cupcake bands. I could be wrong. What are these called? Yeah, they're called chocolate cupcake, and honestly, they remind me so much of those like Hostess cupcakes, if you know what I'm talking about. The ones with the little swirl across it. Now that I'm looming with them, like that's like the perfect name for these bands. A little sidetrack, but I don't know. That is literally exactly what they look like. I haven't used these bands before, because I was hoping to use them with bracelets, but I'm in a desperate need for brown, so they will do. So we're just gonna go all the way around, and there should be 18 of these stitches, so I'm not really counting to make sure I have 18, because if I just stitch on every single one of these stitches, I should be at 18. And then also I'm gonna count at the end. Like that. And then once we make it back to this first loop here, we're just going to go through this first loop, do a single stitch, and we'll put a C-clip on this one. So like I said, we should be at 18 loops, so we can go ahead and count. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. And it should be looking something like this. It looks really weird right now, but that's just because we're stitching it. And my camera battery's dying again. Oh no, let me switch it. We're gonna be playing like music. I don't know if it would be called. I don't know. We're just gonna be switching camera batteries a lot because I made the mistake of, I thought they were all charged and they weren't. So I'm just like taking the battery out of my camera, putting it to charge, and then when this one dies, I'm just flipping them out. But we should be fine. We should be fine, hopefully. Anyways, that was it for that row. This is what our guy looks like. And now we're just gonna go ahead and decrease everything until closed, basically. But we're gonna do like one row, which is why I put the C-clip in, and then we're gonna stuff it, and then we're gonna go ahead and close it up. So, like I said, we're decreasing everything till closed, and I realized that up until this point we haven't decreased yet, so I'm gonna show you what a decrease is. But what a decrease is you're gonna grab the inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop, and then you'll just make a stitch. And that's a decrease. And we just keep doing this all the way around until we get to the C-clip. So you grab inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop, make a stitch. Inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop, and we make a stitch. And we just keep doing this until we get to the C-clip. And I know it's kind of hard to see what I'm doing. I'm trying my best to let you guys see, but it's starting to get pretty tight. And one of our decreases is going to land on the one with the C-clip on it. Just do the decrease and then move the C-clip up. And you could count around at this point. I believe we should have 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If you don't have 9 and you have, say, 10 or you have 8, it's honestly not the biggest deal at this point because we're closing it up. But like I said, we were going to just do that row. So we did the one row of decreasing everything. And now we're going to stuff it. So we're just going to get some stuffing. I'm using cotton balls. I like to tear them up a little bit. And then we'll stuff this guy. And you could take your hook out at this point, which is why I put the C-clip in, because you want the C-clip to like hold the band. And then you're going to stuff him. I'm just gonna add some stuffing. This guy's pretty big, so he uses a good amount of stuffing. And I like to make sure he's pretty full. Okay. So I feel like he has a good amount of stuffing right now. And if you don't have cotton balls, I've mentioned this before in other tutorials, you could always use polyfill. You could use some torn up tissues, work pretty well. And if you're desperate, I've done this on car trips, you can tear up a napkin. Or you can leave them unstuffed. But I mean, tearing up tissues works pretty well if you don't have cotton balls. I love using cotton balls though, but yeah. I have stuffed loom things with tore up napkins when I'm on a car trip and I'm like, oh no, I forgot my cotton balls. And then there's just like napkins, because you know, whenever you're on road trips, you always end up eating at fast food places. So there's just like napkins, and yeah, they work. They work. Your loom thing will be very hard though if you stuff it with napkins. Anyways. So we can take the C-cup out at this point, we can put our hook back in, and we're just gonna keep decreasing until we can't decrease anymore. So you're just gonna keep decreasing. And I know it's really hard to see what I'm doing, but I'm just doing the same thing, grabbing the inside part of one loop, back part of the next loop. And I'm just gonna keep decreasing until I can't, like I said 50 billion times. I think I can do one more decrease. So once you have the very last decrease you can do up on your hook, you're just gonna pull the band through everything, push the back one over the front one, and pull tight. And then we'll just pull this in to tuck it in. And now our pot is officially done. So we have our dirt, we have our pot, it's all nice and stuffed. So the next step is going to be doing the leaves, and this is the part I think it isn't hard, but it's a little challenging, and I just know this because tying things in, a lot of loomers don't like doing it, and this one we got to tie a couple things in. So yeah, I'm debating what color I want to do my cactus, because we have 2 green cactuses already. And I could do another green guy, but I'm thinking I'm gonna do like a purple cactus, which are actually, I don't know what, anyways, which are actually a thing, because my grandma has these, I don't know, I say a cactus, I guess we're doing like succulents, but my grandma has these like purple succulents. They look really funny. Well, they're pretty, but they're purple. So I'm gonna do a little purple guy, just for fun, because we already have 2 green cactuses, so might as well do a purple one. I really need to organize my bands though. It's always interesting being split between two places, especially because I'm in school right now. Like, I have no idea what I leave at home, what I have at my university. And then sometimes when I come home after like break, I come here and I'm like, oh, there's all the things that I thought I had over there that I couldn't find. I left them here. So yeah, fun times. Anyways, we're gonna get started with the leaves, and the way I did the colors for the leaves is we have like this one color for the tip of the leaf, then we have like a second color, and then we have the main leaf color. And you can see that on all of these guys. I'm gonna be doing the same thing today. And so for the tip of the leaf color, which is like this bright pink in this one, I'm gonna be using this green. And then we're gonna move, for the blue here, I'm gonna move to this pastel green. And then for the leaves, I'm gonna be using purple. So just to recap, because I know it might be confusing. For the main part of the leaf, I'm using purple. For the blue in this one, I'm using pastel blue, well, pastel green. And then for the tip, I'm using these shiny green bands. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna get the pot, we're gonna set it aside. We don't need it for right now. And then we're going to start on the leaves. So the leaves are done very similar. If you've ever made my strawberry design, it's kind of the same, but I'm gonna explain it once again pick up my bands. Okay, so we're gonna start with the first color, the color you want for the tip. So that's gonna be the color of your cap band. So for, like I said, the pink in this one. So for me, that's my bright green. So whatever color you want for the tip of your plant, that's first. We're gonna wrap it 3 times around our hook. And then we're going to get our second color. So for me, my second color, like I said, is the pastel green, but whatever color you want for the blue. We're gonna do 3 stitches in this cap band. So we'll pull a band through the whole cap band, both ends back on our hook, push the back one over the front one, go back through the cap band, pull a band through just the cap band, push the back one over the front one, and then push this loop from last time over. We need to do 1 more stitch in the cap band. So once again, go through the cap band, pull the band through the cap band, back one over the front one, and then we push the loop from last time over. And now we don't actually slip stitch to flip colors when we do this. In this one, we're just gonna go ahead and switch the colors we're using. At least I don't think I slip stitched. Did I slip stitch? I lied, I slip stitched. So we're gonna slip stitch to flip colors, but what we do when we're making these leaves is we're just gonna like turn around. So as you can see, we're facing this way, and you can kind of see the loops are all going like this. We're gonna just turn, so we're just gonna get this whole thing and turn it, and then we're gonna go back into this first loop here, and we're gonna do 2 increases in a row for these 2 loops that are here. And the first part of this increase, we're going to go ahead and slip stitch so we have a nice color flip. So we're going to pull a band through everything on our hook, and then push the back one over the front one. And because this is an increase, we need to go back in and do another stitch. Like that. I don't know if you can hear that. Like that. So that's 1 increase, and basically the only thing that's different than before is that we slip stitch on this first one just so we can have a nice flipping of the colors. But we're going to go into the next loop, and we're going to do another increase, so 2 stitches in this loop. That. So we have 2 increases. And once again, we're going to turn, so we're facing this way. We're just going to go ahead and turn so we face this way. And we're going to do 2 single stitches, and then this last stitch in this last loop here is going to be an increase. So we're going to do 1, 2 single stitches. And then in the last loop, so we did 2 single stitches in this last loop, we're going to do an increase. So we'll put 2 stitches in this loop. Like that. So that's the first leaf. We need to make 5 leaves, but we are also connecting the leaves as we make them. So I'm going to do the next leaf to show you this. But basically we're just going to leave this leaf on our hook. We're going to let it chill here, and we're going to ignore it until we get towards the end. So we're just going to ignore this leaf on our hook, and we're going to start making another leaf. We're just going to leave it there. And we're going to start making another leaf the exact same way. So once again, we're going to want to get our colors. So we start with the first color we want for the tip. We wrap that band 3 times around our hook. Then we do 3 stitches in this cap band in our second color. So 1 stitch, go back in. No. 2 stitches, and then 3 stitches. So once you have 3 stitches in the cap band, we're going to go ahead and turn, and we need our next color. So that, for me, that's my purple. So once again, we turned. We're going to do 2 increases in a row. But once again, on this first stitch, we're going to slip stitch so we have a nice color flip. So we'll pull a band through everything. And then push the back one over the front one. And then for the second part of this increase, we just do a single stitch. like that. We'll go ahead and do another increase. And I know this is really hard to do because it's so tiny, but it's manageable. Like that. So we have our 2 increases. And now we're gonna flip. And before we start doing all the stuff for this row, we're gonna go ahead and push this one over. So we're just gonna get this loop and we're just gonna push it over. And now we're just gonna do our single stitch, and then an increase. And we just push that one over. And that's pretty much it. So same as before, we're gonna do a single stitch. We're gonna do a single stitch. And then on the last loop, we do an increase. And now our leaves are connected. So we're gonna continue doing this for all the leaves. We push them over in the same spot every time. We need 5 leaves, so we gotta do this so all 5 are connected. And yeah, I think I'm gonna stay on and do 1 more leaf with you, and then I'm gonna go to the other 2 just because it gets really repetitive. I know the leaves are challenging, but I feel like after you do 3 leaves, it's like, ah, this is just what I do. And you can always rewind, see what I did before, and then if you're confused. So yeah. I say yeah too much. I'm just picking up some bands for the next leaf. So once again, we're gonna do a cap band in our first color. Then we put 3 stitches in the cap band in our second color. And I'm gonna go pretty fast for this leaf, by the way. So we'll put 3 stitches in the cap band. For our second color. So once you have 3 stitches in your cap band, you're gonna turn. So you turn your hook so you're facing against the loops, kind of. And then we're gonna do our 2 increases, but on the first stitch of the first increase, we're gonna do a slip stitch so we flip colors. We'll go ahead and do a single stitch after that. So that's our first increase. Then we go into the next loop and do another increase. Like that. So we have our 2 increases. Then we're going to turn, and before we start doing our stitches for this row, we're going to flip over this loop from the last leaf. So our little chain of leaves, we're going to just go ahead and flip that loop over, and then we're just going to continue. So we're going to do our 2 single stitches. So 1, 2, and then we do our last increase. So we need 2 more leaves, and I don't want this video to be ridiculously long. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go off camera and do the other 2 leaves. They are done the exact same way we did these leaves, and if you're still confused, like I mentioned before, you can always rewind this video, watch what I did before, and just do that 2 more times because we're doing the exact same thing. But yeah, I'm gonna go off camera, I'm gonna make 2 more leaves, and we're still just connecting them. And yeah. I don't know why I brought this guy back. We still don't need him. So I just finished doing my chain of 5 leaves. So it should look something like this. They're all chained together. And once you finish your chain, you're going to want to go back into the first loop and make sure your chain isn't twisted, even though it's okay, I think, if it is, honestly. And we're going to go back through the first loop here. So we're just going to go back through that first loop. And we're going to pull a band through everything and tie it off. Just so that way our chain is now a circle. So now we do actually need to grab our pot, and what we're gonna do is we're just gonna slip, like tie this down with slip knots onto the dirt. And this is the part that gets like a little, like there's a lot of tying involved because we have to tie in each of the layers of the 3 leaves, which is kind of annoying, but I really like the look at the end, so I think it's worth it, and it's not awful if you tie each layer down as you go. When I made the first plant, I made all the layers and then tied them down, and it just felt like so much tying, so I would definitely tie the layers down as you go, which you should be doing if you're following the tutorial, because that's what I'm going to do. But to tie down the leaves, I just set it on top of my pot, and I kind of just position them where I want it. I go through part of the leaves, I'll go through part of the dirt, And then I'll just pull the band through everything and slip knot it. So we just push the back one over the front one and pull tight. And I usually only tie each of the leaves down once, but we're still tying them. We have to tie each of the 5 leaves in. So we're just going to tie each of the leaves in. So you just go through part of the leaf, go through part of the dirt, and slip knot. And it doesn't take long to do this, it's just, I feel like it looks pretty bad when you have all the tails sticking out. Like that. So I would recommend before we start the next layer just tucking all these tails in. It saves time later when you have to like tie the next layer in and then you're like, oh, I gotta tuck all the tails in. So it's better to just tuck them in now. And by tuck them in, you just pull them into the dirt so no one can see them. And I'm gonna tuck them in off camera because I hate tucking things in on camera. But yeah, you just tie each of the leaves down once, and because they're connected, they usually hold pretty well, and I haven't had any issues. Usually, as long as you tie each of the leaves down, you should be fine. Luckily, after this row, the leaves are pretty repetitive too, so it's not too bad. It's not too bad. I say like I'm trying to convince myself, like it's not that bad. To be honest, I'm getting kind of hungry. I've been filming for like roughly 2 hours, and it is a lunchtime, and I'm hungry. I also heard my mom come home from church, because I stopped, I don't know if you guys noticed, I paused earlier, because I just heard my mom outside my door. I'm home, and I'm like, okay. Cool, I guess. But yeah. So after you have the first layer attached and you tucked in all the tails, it should look a little something like this. So once again, we're gonna get this guy. We're gonna set him aside, and we're gonna make more leaves. And the leaves actually are the exact same. It's just we stopped sooner. So the next 2 sets of leaves are made the same way, but we are gonna do 4 leaves, and then we're gonna do 3 leaves for this top one. So this is 4 leaves, this is 3 leaves. And we don't do the last row, basically, on this guy. But it's pretty much the same thing. So, I'll show you. I need more purple bands. But, honestly, once you get the hang of making the leaves, it's pretty fast. So, we're good. I dropped a band. Okay. So, once again, we're gonna get our first color, and then we're gonna do 3 single stitches in the cap band with our second color. So, wrap the band 3 times around our hook. Then we're gonna put 3 stitches in this cap band. So 1, 2, and 3. And then once again, we're gonna turn. And we're gonna go to our third color, which for me is my purple. And we're gonna slip stitch on the first part of this increase. So we're doing exactly the same as we did last time, by the way. So we're doing 2 increases. Slip stitch on the first increase. Regular single stitch on the second part of that first increase. And we'll just go ahead and do another increase. So same as we did before, we did 2 increases. And then we're just gonna stop here. So for the rest of the leaves, we just stop after this. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna just leave this on our hook and start the next leaf. And like I said, we only need 4 leaves. So basically, these leaves are made exactly the same as the other leaves. We just stop a row sooner. So we're just gonna leave that guy on our hook. And just like before, wrap a band 3 times around our hook. Put 3 stitches in our second color into this cap band. We're gonna turn. So after we do the 3 stitches, we turn. And just like before we get started on the last row, we're just gonna slide that loop over. And then we're gonna get started on our last row. And once again, slip stitch. So we have a nice color shift when we increase. Well, a nice color, yeah. You know what I mean. And then we just do our 2 increases. And then that's it. And then we're done for this row. So we're literally doing the same thing, but we're stopping a row sooner. And yeah, so we're just going to continue doing this until we have 4 leaves. I'm going to show you one more time and then I'll go off camera to do the last leaf, I guess. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do one more leaf. But yeah, just picking up some bands real quick. And so for this leaf chain, we have to do another one of these with just 3 leaves. And I don't know if I'm gonna come back and show you how to do that leaf change because it's literally the same thing as this row because we have 2 more sets of leaves. We have this set and then we have 1 more. And they're made exactly the same way. It's just this set has 4 leaves and then the other one has 3 leaves. But let me show you how to do the final, well, 1 more leaf for this row. So once again, you start with your tripled cap band. And then you're going to put 3 stitches in this cap band. Then we're going to turn. So we're facing the other way. And I remember, it kind of looks nicer if you pull this loop over when you do the slip stitch. So you're going to pull a band through everything, including this loop, like that to connect them. Then you just do the other half of the increase. And then we do the other increase. So we just did our 2 increases, and then that's it for this leaf. Like that. So we need 1 more leaf for this second layer. I think I'm just gonna do it really quick, and then we'll go ahead and tie it in. And I'm not gonna explain, I think I'm just gonna loom really fast. But stay on camera so you can see what I'm doing for this final leaf. So we have 3 leaves, we need 1 more. Start with our cap band. 3 stitches in the cap band. Oh no, I think my SD card's running out of space. Hold up, guys. That's not good. Okay, new SD card. Different battery. We should make it to the end. I really should have remembered to charge my batteries, but did I? No. Anyways, we just finished doing the 3 single stitches in the cap band. We're gonna turn, go in through this first loop, do our slip stitch, so we just pull it through everything so we can connect it to the old leaves. And then we just finished doing our 2 increases. There's 1 increase. There's the second increase. That. And just like the other one, we're gonna wanna go ahead and we're gonna make it into kind of like a circle, I guess. This 1 leaf is backwards somehow. How did that happen? I don't know. Okay. One of my leaves is backwards and I don't know why. But it's okay. So we're gonna go through the first loop. Pull a band through everything. And then slip knot off. And now we have our little 4-leaf second layer. We'll get our cactus. And just like before, we're just gonna slip knot this in. So we're gonna do 4 slip knots, 1 in each of the leaves. And we're gonna slip knot it in. And the same way as before, I kind of just set it where I want it. I kind of like to set it so it's slightly off, so it like peeks out a little bit in some spots. Go through part of the leaf. Then go through part of the dirt. So we're still tying it into the dirt. And then you just pull a band through everything and slip knot. And we just do this for all 4 leaves. I'm trying to keep my fingers out of the way so you guys can see what I'm doing, but we just go through the leaf, go through part of the dirt. Just slip knot. And just like that, our second layer is done. So we have one final layer to do. We also need to tuck in all of these slip knot bands, so we're just gonna tuck them all in real quick. But we have one more layer to do after this layer, and the leaves are made the exact same way as the last layer, but instead of doing 4 leaves, you're gonna do 3. So I think because they are made the exact same way, I'm not going to be on camera to do them, and I'm going to do them off camera, and then I'll come back and we'll attach them together and finish up our cactus. I'm just trying to... Honestly, I think in this design though, tucking in the slip knots isn't so bad. With some of my other designs, because they're like so small, tucking in like the tails is such a hassle. But honestly, on this design it's not the worst, so it's pretty alright. Okay. So I just tucked in all the slip knots, and like I said, we have one more layer to do. Exactly the same as the last layer. Instead of 4 leaves though, you're gonna do 3 leaves. So I'm gonna go off camera, I'm gonna make our little chain of leaves real quick, and then I'm gonna come back and we're gonna attach them together. Okay, so I just made the last layer of leaves, and I tied it into a little circle. So I just did the 3 leaves exactly the same as we did last row, and then I just tied the last loop we had into the first one just like we did with the other rows. And now we're going to take this last row of leaves and we're going to just tie it on the inside here. So once again, you're just going to want to set it where you want it, and I like setting it so it's like a little bit off from the other leaves. And with this one, you really kind of want to cover up the dirt because you can see the little bit of brown that's down there. So I kind of tie it really close to the center so you can't see the dirt anymore. Or like the dirt, I guess, because it's not actually dirt. But once again, we're going to take 3 bands and we're just going to tie each of the 3 leaves in. So we're just going to tie every single leaf in. And we really want to tie them really close to the center so we can't see the dirt, which I think is the most important bit. And I know it's really hard to see what I'm doing right now. That's just because it's so tight up here. But you're just going through part of the dirt, going through part of the leaves, and just like every single other row we did, slip knotting to tie in. And one final time, we're just going to tuck in all of our tails. And then our guy's done. I'm going to show you how to do a face real quick if you want to know how to do a face. Also, at the end of this tutorial, I'm going to give you a sneak peek of some stuff that's coming, thanks to someone asking me to do a tutorial. But I'll say all that at the end of this video. Okay. So with the middle one, I like to kind of make sure it like goes in a little bit so you can't see, like I said, the dirt. But yeah. There's our succulent pot, which I think is really cute. You can usually see the dirt a little bit in the middle, but you could tie it so you can't see it, but it's not, I don't mind how it looks. So one final thing that is optional that I like to do is I like to add a face. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm going to be using beads today, just like the beads I used in these guys. And I just used some 4mm round beads. I actually got these from Michael's because I accidentally left my bag of beads at home, but they are just 4mm round plastic beads. If you don't have beads, you could always use a band and just wrap it 4 or 5 times around your hook, and it works the same way. What did I do with, oh, there it is. But you're gonna wanna get your beads, and if you're using beads, you're gonna need a piece of floss. I've used dental floss just because the string doesn't fray a ton, so it makes it easier to put the beads on the bands. You're gonna take your bead, take the dental floss. I can't see. You're gonna slide the bead onto the dental floss. Then you're gonna put your band on, fold over, go back through the bead, and then just slide the bead onto the band. We'll do that for the other eye as well. And like I mentioned, if you don't have eyes, you could leave your plant faceless, or you can take a black band. I know I already said this, but I'm just gonna say it again. Wrap it 4 or 5 times around your hook, and then pull a band through, and it'll work as the same as the eye. So don't worry if you don't have beads. Like that. So then we're gonna take our eyes, and at this point I usually just pick whatever spot I want to be the front of my plant. I think we're gonna go right here. And I'm gonna go through right here. Take my eye, pull it through, put the other end back on my hook, push the back one over the front one, and just pull it tight. See, this happens sometimes with the eyes. The band will snap. Let me try that again with the other one. I have noticed that sometimes with the treasure boxes, these bands tend to snap a little easier, so don't pull it very aggressively, because that's when you end up with bands snapping. So let me just repair the other eye really quick. Yeah. I just feel like every loom thing needs a cute face. What's the point if it doesn't have an adorable face? I feel like without the face, it's like sophisticated houseplant, not fun, silly houseplant, which is what I'm going for. I actually really like the purple leaves too. So oh, let me show you where I'm tying in. That's like the whole point of this, and I was just tying the eye in. So I'm gonna put the other eye right here. For me, because of the angle I like to pull it in, it's easier to do this upside down. So I'll pull half of the band through, grab the other half, pull tight, but not aggressively so we don't have another band snap. Then we just hide our tail. So I'm just gonna go ahead and hide this tail. Oop, I just pulled some stuffing out. Oh no, get back in there. Stuffing. Okay. Like that. The very last thing we need is some cheeks. So let me grab some cheeks. I think I'm gonna use the orangey color. See, this is the orangey coral color I was talking about that came with this, like, with the treasure box of sweets bands. Like, I love this color. But I'm going to take 2 bands. You just come right under where the eye is. You pull the band through, both ends back on your hook, push the back one over the front one, and you're going to pull it tight but not too tight, just tight enough so it doesn't slip out. And then hide that end of the tail. But we do the same thing to the other eye. Just make sure to come right under where the eye is. Pull it through. Back one over the front one. Pull it tight but not too tight. Hide the tail. Like that. So if you want to do a mouth, the way I do the mouths is I'll take a black band. I will cut it to the size I want the mouth to be. I'll take a hot glue gun, put a drop of hot glue right there, and then I just set the mouth on it. I show how to do it in my Loomigurumi Basics video, the updated one, but I'm not going to show you how to do it in this tutorial because I don't want to have to wait for hot glue gun to heat up. Also, I feel like I will probably burn myself, so if you want to see me do that, I have it's in the Loomigurumi Basics video. But I think that is it for this tutorial. I hope your little succulent guy came out okay. I'm actually really happy with how this guy came out. If you make one of these, definitely share with me on Instagram and tag it. I've been very behind on seeing everybody's posts who's tagging me, but I've been saving them all, and I'm gonna go through and like and comment them one of these days. I was just very busy in school, but I would love to see if you make one of these, and definitely tag me in it and show it to me. I love seeing you guys make my stuff. Like I mentioned, I have some more tutorials coming. Let me just grab the other guy. There he is. I'm gonna be making some tutorials for Jamie Loomer1, I believe is their username, but Jamie asked me to make some tutorials for these guys that he designed. So, got a little coconut, which I think is so cute and summery, and a glass of lemonade. So those tutorials will be coming very soon. I am determined to get active on this channel, and now that I have some stuff I need to make tutorials for, I'm coming back, guys. But yeah, so I think that is it for this tutorial. Like I said, if you make these, definitely share them with me. And my Instagram will be down in the description box below if you want to see more of what I'm up to. I also have been posting a lot of my art from school on there, so if you want to see why I disappeared and what I was making, I've been posting a lot of my art from school, so you can see that as well if you're interested. But I also post Loomy things, so definitely follow me. And don't forget to subscribe if you want to see more tutorials from me. I have a lot of more tutorials coming. Like I said, we have the lemonade, we got this coconut coming, and yeah, I think that's it for this video. I will see you soon in another tutorial. Bye.